As someone who's taken the Babson course and may have taken the sandbar technique course, you obviously know techniques that are somewhat beyond what other people have. Now, here's a simple example. This is a line that's used by Andrews often in his original material that's covered in the expanded material that shows this here as a target, and he uses it as a target. And I would suggest that from my experience that it's not used as necessarily as a signal unless you do it in a very limited risk way. Here's why. What this market does is it obviously goes into what I call Christmas tree mode. It's this incredible parabolic up move here. And when you have this incredible parabolic up move, it can sometimes jump. So for this thing to jump from 50 when it reached this point here to 100 or some other outrageous number, and somebody being short a futures contract, that would have a significant impact. Whereas if somebody sees this kind of a pattern and purchases an option, even if the price jumps up to 100 up here, the limit in terms of actual risk is limited to, as you know, the full price of what you paid for the option. That's a benefit in that, if there isn't a benefit in options. So anyway, this is an important example, and we'll see this once again as we look at this one here. And this one here is a little bit different, because what we see here is we see prices not only did this parabolic up move, and I had this gentleman who was named Terrence was here visiting at the time, and as this occurred, and I said, well, this is a Christmas tree, and he absolutely loves this stock and Yoku. And he's big on Chinese internet stocks, and while those will do incredibly well in the long run, they are extremely volatile. So prices came up here, and I just, without drawing any lines, I mentioned to him that this is a Christmas tree pattern. And Christmas tree pattern, we have to remember that they quite often will go up in this parabolic thing, and it's like, just, oh my God, these profits are wonderful, and then they because they're in this incredible parabolic mode, they can go and they can jump some really fantastic amounts, and so they wind up being very risky. And so this being used as a target, a place for an exit, or perhaps if somebody's going to go short for a while, as a place to buy a short-term put, that would limit your risk. That, of course, would be an appropriate measure. So what you have, though, that you really do need to watch is that since this is an MPL, this is one that prices often come back to and stop at least temporarily, if not stop at, and then keep going on for the party. If they We'll have to use the further analysis here to see what is most likely to occur, because if this is a move that suggests the party will keep on going, then this will become quite a party. So whenever you have prices going back to one of these MPLs, this is slash center lines, this is a good thing to watch for. And take a look at quickly. Now, okay, so this here is a target line, and that's rather obvious. But sometimes it's not so obvious as to what's a target line and what isn't, okay? And let's take a look at the euro. That's a really good example for that. Okay, now, in the euro, I sent out a thing today that, yeah, we had a sandbar signal, and yeah, that's nice and wonderful. And what's been going on for weeks is for weeks, there's been quite a few people that have been emailing me suggesting that, gee whiz, euro's about to reverse and go to these really nice low levels. Well, yeah, that's true. That could happen. But as I said, gee, give it a little bit of time, give it a little bit of time. I really like to wait for a solid signal, mainly because I'm cheap and I don't want to risk a lot of money, or thrifty, whatever you want to call that. That's an old Babson value, I guess. But if you look at this here, this was your mega median line here, and so forget this line here. this is your target line. As you can see, it came up to it once, came up to it twice. And the thing with using these kind of lines as targets, they are target area lines, nice and general. And then after prices reach a target area line, it's a good time to look for a signal. Actually, looking for the signal. Certain things in the course, as you know, are signals regardless of target area lines or something like that. And these are the sandbar things, and these are things that I came up with a long time ago in order to be more accurate, and something that helped me in intraday trading in the S&P. And so all these are really good for is for finding significant turning points. They don't find all these little ones along the way or all that other stuff. But they are known for finding significant turning points. So, and there's a video that you can see that was as the market was crashing. I think it was in 2008. I think it was in August, off the top of my head. And it was one where I'll be sure to point this out to Babson course members, where we showed what the big lines were, and there was a sandbar signal. So when you know the sandbar technique, you look at that video and go, he had a sandbar signal there. Well, no wonder he's looking at this guy reversing. And this is when the market was just like, oh my God, down we go. So anyway, so sandbars are used at different levels. Someone suggested to me that they're really interested in using sandbars on a daily or weekly charts, and I did some analysis, and I found that yes, you can use them in certain ways on daily and weekly charts. Just be aware you're not going to get a ton and a half of signals. This is not something you get a lot of signals with necessarily if you're looking at daily and weekly charts. Okay, so anyway, so as we get to here, this area here is going to give you what I call a target reversal area. Those of you that are in the Babson course will immediately be able to draw your lines and say, yep, target reversal area here. In other words, if prices come to this area here and reverse, then that's a signal. Okay, whereas down here, let me show you what's down here. Down here is an area that's simply a target, not necessarily a target reversal. Okay, it may be a target reversal when it gets down there. We may get a reversal right at the target, but it's anyway. This target, this reversal area here, or this target signal area here, is one that I'm also looking for a target. This is primarily used as a signal, though. Okay, so what am I looking at? Well, what I've got is this area here as your median line, and this area here as your 2P line. And so typically I'm looking for this area here to be the target area. Why this target area down here? Well, because this pattern up here, if you look at, you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a possible 4 and a possible 5. If this guy goes down to this area here, this pattern up here is a typical pattern that occurs at a pivot 4, and it has nothing to do with the median line I just drew or the sandbar techniques. You'll need to go through the VRMM material and to understand what I look for at J-1. Okay, so this is J-1, or some people would call it pivot 4. It's a J-1, and then typically what happens after that is prices go to this area down here. Okay, so if we get a sudden rush to that, then look for this to be a target area down here, and then look for everybody to hate the euro and all that fun kind of stuff. So let's take a look at this. This is important though in the long run, because if you get a down move that goes down to this area here, in the greater scheme of things, golly gee, I'm not going to do it right now, but this might be, uh, um, let me just turn this off for a second and do this. Okay, here I am. What I did was I did a further calculation, and if you draw your, remember you have three types of lines that you use for your Newton, and here's the third one comes in right over here. So if you get a move that goes way, way down to here, um, and mind you, this could be out here somewhere. Okay, so it could be down at this downsloping 3P line, and it could be out here for all I know, and that'd be just fine. That would be in approximately May of next year. This one down here would be in a later part of this year, so it just, August or so. Okay, and then you have another target over here, which would be August or so. Okay, so exact time is not necessarily an issue here. We're really looking for a price at a certain time. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exactly at that point, because what we can do is we can find ourselves with one of these nice SB signals, because we had one here, we had one here. God, we had these all over the place at the darn right near the darn extremes. And remember, these were signals. They weren't target lines. These were signals, so the market, within a few days of the market making this extreme, you had to make note of it, okay, and use it in order to take advantage of it, because these things just they don't screw around. I mean, once in a while they go back up and give you a second chance, but you know, they're goners. So that's your sandbar technique, sandbar signal. That's in the euro. Okay, let's look at something else. Yeah. What else am I looking at? Here we go. This one's fun. Okay, here's another example. Nice example. I had here's a weekly chart. Let's look at this on a daily. On a daily chart, we had I believe we had an ORE down here. We may have. I know we did not. We only had one over here. That's kind of unusual, but for it to come in right at the test of the lows, but it does happen that we have an ORE. And those of you that are using the VRMM, that are in the advanced Babson course, will use your other techniques to recognize this as a significant turning point. Okay. Once again, that's a signal. That's not necessarily, well, it could be a target. It's some of these targets and signals are kind of fuzzy. Signals are very specific, and targets are kind of down here somewhere. Okay, let's look at this one. Now, this one's lovely. Okay, so like I said, somebody got on my case to look at longer term stuff in these stocks, and this is a Newton down here. This is the Newton extended. So I want you to, this is DHT, I want you to go and take a look and draw your Newton extended, and you'll get your one of the three Newton points, right? Here's a Newton point, textbook. Here's another Newton point. Now, a big important difference between this one here and this one here. Remember, in one of the videos I discussed on how you can look at the market. You can just simply look at a chart and see whether or not you need to apply the Newton lines, because there's a real good chance of a Newton reversal signal. And if you take the time and look, it up here, it was clear as can be, right? And so we have that, and over here you had an SB. Now, there's something that's really important when looking at these points, because you say, gee, we don't get the same kind of reversal at each point. Absolutely true. And this fulfills the requirement for the concept of things being different at different points, so you don't get the exact same signal at every point. I think they called it the rule of alteration, or some, whatever they called it. and it is very significant, very important. Okay, so now at this point here, you have you do not have a Newton of any kind. And quite frankly, after having two in a row, even though they were different, uh, I would fully anticipate that. And prices could keep going straight down from here. We know that. That's just reality. However, because of present conditions, we have an SB watch right in this area here in DHT, and today is what? The 5th of May. Okay, so we have an SBY, and you'll be able to see whether or not you had a signal. And if you had have a signal in this, chances are you'll be able to do it in a very tight risk manner. Right? We have a video that talks about risk and stuff like that. Anyway, for you Babson course members, and for those of you that have taken the Sandbar course, this information here will be very relevant. I ask that you use the techniques, draw your lines. You'll see that what I'm doing here is I'm really trying to have you draw less lines and to draw them in a cookie cutter fashion whenever possible. I'm not opposed to creativity. I just found that over time that these certain cookie cutter methods are pretty interesting, right? So anyway, thank you for your time. See you next time.